Prosperity, where we are keeping it real and offering value to our community through financial wisdom and real estate education. I'm Tanya Carlson.
And I'm Richard Cato, and we are your local real estate coaches.
Let's go! All right. Did you hear on the news from Black Knight Incorporated, which is a data analysis company, that Americans have $5.8 trillion worth of equity in their homes right now?
That's a lot.
$5.8 trillion.
But is that the real number?
I don't know. Let's talk about it. I mean, come on. I taught high school math, so I can do a lot with numbers. We'll figure it out. But that is double the levels that we had of equity in 2011 and 12. So we've really gained a lot of equity.
Right.
That's why our podcast is The Power of Prosperity, because we need to have a mindset of prosperity. Our groceries are more expensive. Our gas is more expensive. Everything is more expensive, yet we're sitting on all this equity that we don't actually have in cash in the bank. But we should live with a mindset of prosperity, thinking about all the different countries and everything all over the world. So we actually are quite blessed, even though I have to pay $3 and some odd cents for my gas. It cost me $100 to fill up my Ford.
Ouch. Dang.
$100. My daughter about died. She saw that, but I'm not kidding. All right, so that's double the levels. Okay, so about 45% of Americans live in the middle class. Richard, did you know that?
I did know that.
What do you think the middle class income is, roughly?
If the last thing I saw, I want to say it was somewhere around $58,000 a year.
Yeah, that's average. So anywhere from 50 to 150 is considered that middle. So everybody, the majority of people make about that much money.
Right.
We want to exceed that, don't we, Richard?
We do. I think everybody wants to.
Yeah, I know they sure do. The situation that we have, though, is that 78%, and this is data that's been collected, of folks live paycheck to paycheck.
Ouch. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Well,
that was just yesterday.
I remember yesterday. Yeah, so we haven't aged at all whatsoever. But 78%, that's 3 out of 4, Richard. That's 3 out of 4 people are living paycheck to paycheck. And I really got to thinking about that number. And then we've got all this equity and we have prosperity here. People are coming here from everywhere. We have prosperity. So are we living like we're prosperous? I think we might be spending too much.
Yeah, and that's just the American society itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We want something now, so instead of waiting and saving up for it, we put it on credit. Yeah. Which credit's not a bad thing, but you got to have some sort of ability to harness that credit and not overextend yourself.
I know. Yeah, I remember back in the day when they had equity lines and you could go and get your equity line, and if you got over the price of the house, you got in trouble. That was back then. But anyway, so I wondered, why is 78% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck? And I really kind of broke it down into 2 things. Salaries, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, have not really increased the same amount as inflation has. Salaries they didn't double.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The salaries just aren't keeping up, number one. And number 2 is that obviously everybody is not using a budget.
No, and that's the hardest thing to learn. I wish that was something that was taught in schools.
Yes, it needs to be. For sure. They need to start earlier. So setting up budgets is one thing that one of our topics today is what is a budget and why have one? Why in the world would you want to have one? Because doesn't it just put limits on you, Richard? Nobody wants to be limited, do they?
Oh, of course not.
No. But guess what? It actually frees you.
That it does.
Oh my gosh, it totally frees you if you actually just let it limit you for a little bit so you can be free later, right? So there's this quote that I found recently that I just really like, because who wants to do a budget? Do a budget. Nobody really wants to. Nobody wants to actually look at the reality of the situation.
Accountants, come on.
They
do.
like it? Oh, I don't know any of them. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, this is a great quote by Dr. Phil, and it says, the difference between winners and losers is that winners do what losers don't want to do. So guys, you have to be a winner in the financial industry because, I mean, ultimately, you're going to have to retire one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always just said, I'm just going to work now because I can work now, and I've always done that. But I've gotten to the age now where I realize there is an end there.
Yeah, and it comes quick.
I want it to come, but I don't, sort of. But, you know, I definitely want to be prepared financially because my biggest fear in life, have I ever told you this, Richard? That my biggest fear was, I don't know if I have,
No.
is to be old and broke.
That's a big fear.
It's a big fear. It's
I don't
always
blame
been
you.
my fear, and I think that kind of holds me back. I'm kind of tight. Might be known as tight. I don't know, but anyway. So if we want to be a winner, we've got to do some things that losers won't do. Okay, so why do we need budgets? Okay, I got my list over here, Richard. What do you think? What helps us? Having a budget makes what?
Well, it designates $1 to every place. So if you create a budget, you know where your money's going.
Right. You watch it. You put it somewhere.
Yes.
Every dollar.
Otherwise, it could just slip right out the back door.
And it does. Have you ever gotten a big chunk of money and then it was gone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
It's funny how that works.
Oh. Well, here's a couple of things. For the main reason to have a budget, ultimately, obviously, that's important, is to have some peace. To just have some peace. That, you know, nobody can take it from you, and you've already done it, and you can have some peace. You are actually in control of your own life and your money. Having a budget does shed light on some potentially bad habits, Richard.
Like Amazon?
Oh, no, not Amazon. Amazon is so helpful. Come on.
It is.
Our kids are growing up on it, though. That's scary.
Oh,
Very
yes.
scary.
I know. I get the call. Hey, can you approve this order?
My daughter called me from school. I can't even believe I'm going to say this in public because this is terrible. She's never done it before, and we had a talk. But she calls me from school and says, "Can you order what's in the Amazon cart?"
From school.
From school.
Oh.
Anyway, must be nice.
It was her break time.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I'm sure she was at lunch or PE.
Yeah.
Although PE, she wouldn't have a minute to do with me because she loves that class. But anyway, it does help you also prepare for emergencies, which is so important. I mean, we saw the pandemic come through, have some cash on hand. I mean, it really does help you prepare. We're on our podcast going throughout this year, we're going to talk about how much should you have in an emergency fund? How much cash should you actually have? Because things are going to happen, guys. This is just, you know.
Yeah, because back in the day, I know, my parents told me, you always need to have at least 3 months. Mm-hmm. But is that hold true anymore?
I don't know. Yeah. Every guru has their number that they tell us, what we should have as far as an emergency fund. I would say, I always told my husband, I always used to say, once we have $10,000 in the bank that's not allocated to something else, then I can relax. So he went on and got that done so I could relax. But, I mean, just set aside, just nothing else, it's just there. I don't know if it's through 2 months or 3 months, whatever number it is, but having that there, it's there.
Yeah, it's a security blanket.
The only thing is there's certain things that are not emergencies. Anyway, we'll talk about that another day. But,
yes.
But it does keep you out of debt. If you set up a budget, then it helps you meet your goals. It helps you to cut expenses because sometimes you're paying on a membership you're not even using.
Or you forget about it and it's just
taking it out
and don't even know. I mean, it could be $5, $10 and you don't really, if you don't budget, you might not have that and, understand that you have that.
Nobody else is doing that in the world, are they? Accidentally. I'm actually, oh my goodness. You have to look at it and you have to keep looking at it. That's why when we talk about budgets this year and we go through the podcast, we're going to talk about each month you have a different budget. I mean, this budget was for Valentine's Day.
Right.
You have to budget for your Valentine's
Day.
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Happy hearts. But, like Christmas comes up. So in December, you budget for the month coming. So you just have to make sure maybe you're taking out a little each month for Christmas if you do big Christmases or whatever it is.
Right.
But you don't want to start worrying about all the details. You just have to start with the main things on the budget and each month get a little bit better at it because you can't expect I'm going to get a budget and have it done. It's a work in progress.
That it is.
Yeah. So then it helps you cut expenses, it relieves financial stress, it strengthens your marriage, which absolutely, I mean, if you've got someone else in the equation, they have to agree.
Yeah, and that could be hard. I mean,
It's hard.
a lot of marriages fail because of financial issues.
I think it's the number one reason.
Yeah.
Money. But if you get a budget you both agree to, then it should help that for sure.
Right.
It builds saving habits, which we do actually have to save. Allows you to retire comfortably. And also, another really important thing about budgeting, I recently did a fundraiser for somewhere else that I do some volunteering. And I mean, I've always wanted to give, but when you have a budget, you know how much you can give. Like
Yep.
you've already agreed to it. You've already said, okay, I'm going to give $50 this month to whatever comes along. And you can do it without worry
Right.
that you're not giving away your last $50 or
That's
something
true.
like that. You actually have it budgeted, whether through tithing or through your kids' stuff, just whatever you're going to donate.
Girl Scout cookies.
No Girl Scout cookies. What's your favorite cookie?
I do like the lemons or the, what's the one, the coconut on top?
S'mores.
Oh, yeah. Those are good.
Those are good. Those are really good. I like the Thin Mints too. I don't have any of those yet. Do you have them?
I don't. I've saw them selling them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I'll somewhere along. Where is that in the budget? I'm not really sure. Girl Scout cookies. We'll see. All right. But anyway, so we talked a little bit about why it's important to have a budget, and we'll talk again in coming episodes on specific things, but just wanted to give an introduction as to why you need one. You got to do it. It's, nobody wants to do it, but if you want to win, you got to do what everybody else doesn't want to do.
Yep.
And then our other topic today was going to be on pricing homes, because I know that's very important. People are like, what's the price? How much is it? How much is my house worth? Well, a little while ago, I told you that $5.8 trillion has been calculated as the equity of the homeowners in the American homeowners. And you're wondering kind of where did they come up with that? What, $5.8 trillion worth of equity? So how do they know? Because there's three types of value of homes. One is tax value, which has nothing to do with the other values. The tax value is determined by your municipality and what they actually need for the year. So that's tax value. They may have used tax value to do the $5.8 trillion. And if that's the case, then we have a whole lot more equity than that.
Yeah, correct.
And then the second type of way to value a home is an appraisal. You want to talk about the appraisal a little bit, Richard?
Yeah, when you go and there's two different. So when you get an appraisal, it's a different value than what the market value is set at. So your home could be worth this much in an appraisal, which is quite a bit, and market value, it's who really will pay what they want to pay. So, and when you get an appraisal value, you do have to have an appraiser come out and take in comps in the area, and that kind of gives you the value of what your home is worth.
That's right. So the appraised value is what your neighbor sold for. What did your neighbor sell their house for, and how similar is your house to that? If somebody is getting a loan on the house, they have to have an appraisal. If you're paying cash, you don't have to have one. But that value is a certain amount. It's what the banks are willing to risk on you and the house. That's basically what it is.
Pretty much.
Basically, how much are they willing to risk? That's a certain number that I'm sure that is not included in that $5.8 trillion, because they didn't go out and do appraisals on every single one of these houses to find out how much equity you have. They didn't do that. And then the third value, which is what we're currently in, the current market that we have, is what you're getting for your house is what is market value. Now, you are not getting market value if you take a buyer on a postcard that's sent to your house, or somebody who calls and wants to buy it without it hitting the market. Now, they may be willing to pay you a nice amount, but you'll never know what the actual market value of your house is without putting it on the market. That's just the facts.
Yeah, because when you do that, you generate more business, or per se.
Demand.
You get demand on everybody wanting to buy the house.
That's right.
Which then in turn raises the bids.
You just never know how much somebody is willing to pay for it. And the main reason to hire a real estate broker is someone who's handled multiple offers and generating the highest possible price for your home. I mean, there's all kinds of ways of starting to list the property, listing it at the appraised value or what you think that it will appraise for, so that you know that whoever's buying it, if they're getting a loan, they can actually buy it, and getting it out there and seeing what the market is willing to pay. It's amazing what the market is willing to pay right now because the inventory is low and demand is high. So, Economics 101 just produces the highest possible price for the home.
Right.
Through that. So 3 types of value. Tax value, which has nothing to do with the other 2. Appraisal is some appraiser who's certified that comes from a bank that uses the comps to determine the value of the home. And the market. The market is the people who want to buy the house and how much they're willing to pay. So those are 3 types of value, and pricing homes and having a strategy for how to produce the highest possible price is all super, super, super valuable. If it just depends on what your goals are. It just depends on really what your goals are.
And you had touched base on knowing or hiring a real estate agent to do this because they know what to do. Yeah. And that goes for, real estate agents know it's called what, a CMA, competitive market analysis. And hiring a real estate agent, whether you hire us or you hire somebody else, you need a professional to help you in this process because they know what the market is doing at that time, that they can help you the best way they know how.
Yeah, I mean, it's your largest asset. It's your biggest asset. I know that it seems like they just throw them out and they hit the wall and they go. I know that's what it seems like to the public. And one day we're going to get a question and answer session going to where you can ask all your questions and we'll be happy to answer them for you. But that's actually not what happens. There's definitely strategy involved. Being online and looking good is really important. Having, qualified buyers that are going to come through so that you don't have a nightmare experience.
Right. We're here to protect you guys, the public.
Yeah, that's what our license is for. The North Carolina real estate license, South Carolina real estate license. It is to protect the public. And you do that based on experience. I've been selling real estate for 17 years in this local area. So it's important. It's important that you feel like you got your highest possible price for your home, unless you have some other extenuating circumstances that really just don't allow for the market to bear it out. But prices are good. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Indian Trail or Union County or anywhere around Charlotte, please give us a call. Like and share this podcast so that we can reach out to you at different times, and let us know if you have any questions. I'm Tanya Carlson.
I'm Richard Cato.
Have a great day.
Bye.